I won't let my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis symptoms define me.
Emerge as you. In 2 clinical studies, Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, provided 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks in 7 out of 10 adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. In a study, nearly 7 out of 10 patients with 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks were still clearer at 5 years. At 1 year and thereafter, patients and healthcare providers knew that Tremfya was being used. This may have increased results. Results may vary.
Serious allergic reactions may occur. Tremfya may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms of infection, including fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough. Tell your doctor if you had a vaccine or plan to.
Emerge as you. Learn more about Tremfya, including important safety information at tremfya.com or call 1-877-578-3527. See our ad in Food and Wine magazine. For patients prescribed Tremfya, cost support may be available.
This is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
Today, we are joined by a very special guest who I'll introduce in just a second. But hey, if you are listening to the podcast and you want more from us, please follow us on Instagram, where we are Girls Gone Hallmark.
We also have a booming Facebook group, Girls Gone Hallmark. I will leave a link in our show notes on our website.
Today, y'all, we are joined by Daxton Bloomquist from Finding Mr. Christmas. Gone entirely too soon, spoiler alert. He's here to talk about his experience on the reality show that Wendy and I are absolutely loving. Welcome to the show, Daxton.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you for being here. We have to start by asking, you did leave the show entirely too soon due to an eye injury. We need to know how you're doing now.
You know, I'm good. I'm in a really good place with it. I still have a while to go with my recovery, which is wild. I had a retinal detachment. I don't know if the listeners haven't read anything yet. My retina detached, it happened at a very young, it doesn't usually happen to people in their 30s, but the more I talk to people, it has been happening. Like it's this weird fluke thing that just happened to my eye. So I had 2 eye surgeries and now I have 2 more to do in 2025. So I'm just kind of waiting for my insurance to renew because my insurance didn't cover surgeries, which is wild, real wild. And don't get me started on that. I could do a whole hour on that, how that because I was covered, but just didn't have the in surgery coverage, which is weird. And then in 2025, I'll be covered under a different insurance, and we'll have the oil in my eye that will be removed, and then I have to have cataract surgery, which is just crazy to me because of all the surgeries cause cataracts, and the eye drops I'm taking cause cataracts. So it's like, here we are. We're in it to win it. I'm healthy. I'm happy, and I will always say I have the best support group ever. My family, my parents have been great. My friends have been great, so I'm in a really good place emotionally. But yeah, I'm getting through it.
I mean, you're in such good spirits about it, but it's when you talk about recovery that entails 4 total surgeries, that's wild.
Yeah, it's some days I look back at it and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. It's frustrating. I was having a blast on the show. Like probably I went through the actor strike here in LA, and I was just kind of really miserable, like being like, what am I going to do with my life? Am I going to keep going in the direction of TV? It just seems like everything's really hard. And then I got on this show and everything got really fun again. And I fell in love with acting. I fell in love with TV again. I fell in love. I was just having the best time. And then the universe was like, you're not ready yet. I don't know what it was doing, but so it was really sad to just not even get to finish out something that I was enjoying, but there's something better is coming my way. I keep telling myself it has to, so.
I love that perspective. I do want to talk about Finding Mr. Christmas, starting with how you ended up on the show in the first place.
I kind of alluded to a little bit that actor strike kind of put me out of work for a while, and I was approached to be on the show, and was like, oh, I've always wanted to do a reality show, and Hallmark is like gonna keep me, and like I don't think Hallmark's gonna like try to make anybody look bad. So I was like, I'll jump in. Let's do it. Let's do it. And I would always love my own. I would always love my own TV show. I'd love my own movie. So I was like, what a good opportunity. And I was hoping that I was going to be the only gay one, so I had something different than the other boys. And yeah, and then I jumped right in. So it was that easy for me. I didn't have to do. I haven't talked to a lot of the other boys' audition process, but my audition process wasn't too terrible, and I think it was just meant to be. I was supposed to be on the show.
Were you like, when they presented it to you, like, were you like, Hallmark's doing a reality show? Like, what is that all about? And how long ago was that?
Well, first they didn't present it as Hallmark. It was just like a major network is doing a reality show for a family, like a family network is doing a reality show. And it's to win a movie, or like to be the star in a movie. And so I like looked in that, and that I think they start vetting or the audition process. Mine was late. I think I was one of the last ones they brought in. But February, March, and then you have to do a lot of things. The things I didn't know about reality shows is they do a heavy background check just to make sure you are mentally capable of this. You go through, you've talked to a therapist and all of that. So they really do make sure that you are capable to be able to handle the cameras, because you're in front of a lot of cameras, and if you can't handle that, then they don't want your safety or your mental health to be ruined from this.
Sure, rightly so.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be terrible. And did they film this earlier this year?
I believe I believe I can tell you we filmed this year in this summer was or in Utah.
That was one of my questions, because as I'm watching the show, like, we know a lot of Hallmark movies are filmed in the summer, and obviously people are sweating in their heavy coats, and so you guys are dressed like stars of Hallmark Christmas movies throughout. Like, you're in flannels, you're in sweaters, and were you a little hot outside in some of those scenes?
No, what was I didn't get to do as many scenes as I wanted. The weather was cool. Like,
good.
It wasn't hot. I wouldn't say it was really sweating. I do have a funny story. I was more hot inside than I was outside, if that makes sense. Like, every time, like, I would it's like TMI, but like I would have my first shirt in episode 1 is like orange, and you could see the sweat stain. So between, like, on lunch, if we got lunch, or like when they were like setting up for the next segment or getting ready for the game, I would take off my orange shirt just because I was like, I will not have pit stains on reality show. That is not going to be my claim to fame. Pit stains will not. So the house was warm, but I think just in general, a Christmas house would be warm, like, no matter where.
The fire and all of that, the baking.
Cozy inside. Outside felt good. I mean, the photo shoot, we definitely weren't wearing a lot.
Not much.
I think I was the most clothed out of the whole group, and it was fun. It was like perfect weather. It was like the weather everybody wants. So
now, were you a Hallmark watcher before getting this, or were you like, I gotta cram all these Hallmark movies before so I know what I'm bringing?
Yes and no. We watch at Christmas during like my family. It's always on. And that's a real answer. I'm not like giving you like a Hallmark like where we watch with my sisters. My sister's really big into Christmas, and the Hallmark channel is always on during Christmas. Have I like sat down and like watched a ton of like know which movie I was watching? Not until I was on the show. And then we had some days where I crammed. Definitely was cramming. I thought there was gonna be a trivia like first episode. I was like ready for the challenge, but that didn't happen. I still don't know. You know, maybe the trivia challenge will come a little later.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. I don't know anything, so I'm in the dark with it as well.
So I have a question. In that first episode, we see you in a challenge with Erin Cahill. So did you not know who she was prior to her coming in?
Oh, putting you on the spot,
Hallmark
Daxton.
royalty.
She's only in 3 movies right now.
Sweet. She was so fun to do a scene with. I had the best time with her. You know what's crazy is that like she was a superstar. She made you feel really comfortable in those. That's not like what they did to us in that first thing. A lot of those boys, kept my acting. If you watch episode 1, I don't talk about the audience knows that I've done acting, but none of the boys knew anything about my history as an actor. I kept it quiet because I was like, my strategy was to slowly let them know throughout the series. But so when I left, none of them still knew that I had any of my acting training. None of them knew I had been on Broadway. I just had been biting my tongue. And so that doesn't, when you met Erin, she was like, she made it you feel really comfortable. But I was like, I want to be like, boys, this is not this is hard. Like what we did in that first challenge was like scary and hard, and they definitely were trying to get they were trying to get us to react, like some of the reactions for sure.
I mean, it was great. It was one of my favorite challenges that we've seen so far, and hard because you are working with a seasoned actor, and then your counterpart, your other like competitor in the scene. And I imagine, like, I'm not an actor. I don't know anything. So like, I imagine it's really hard to try to make yourself be noticed when you're like working with 2 other people.
Well, and I approached that scene. Well, at first I didn't want to be paired with Hayden, and I don't know if that ever made it on air because I was like, I don't want to be paired with Hayden because we both have blonde hair and we're the only 2 blondes, and I know he's very charming, and he's really likable, and I'm not scared about being charming and likable, but like the last person I wanted to be with, like I wanted to outshine some of the other guys. Like I was like competing. Like I came off. I was trying to be like the villain of the season. Let's be real. And I was ready. I was ready for that villain edit. And I think the best thing that happened to me doing this whole thing was being paired with Hayden. I'm so grateful. And it took me like 3 minutes, and I think I learned a lesson being like, I want us both to win. And he's so nice and so easy to work with. And we just connected so well that I didn't care. I still think that my throw around the bow and pulling her in was cuter than Hayden's toss behind his shoulder. But Erin just was mesmerized by those blue eyes, so I can't get mad at her. But I still think when I throw around and pull in was way better than Hayden's toss. So, and I even tell him that in person. So I'll come for you, Hayden.
Yeah, in terms of connecting with the actress. Yeah, that challenge is hard because I think it goes against probably what you're told to do as an actor, because you were trying to pull focus away from the other actor instead of like bring everyone into the scene. And so it stressed me out as a watcher and a rule follower. I'm like, well, it's almost like mean's the wrong word, right? But it's almost like, well, no, look at me. Like, forget that other guy over there.
I think our goal going in it, because I knew that the other boys were like me, me, me. I think our goal once we sat down was how do we make each other look good and how do we make Erin look good? So how do we look good as a team? And therefore the scene will look really good. And then, one of us has to win. I swore they were going to give a double win the first day. Like they should have. I think they should have come for a double win, but because we worked so well as a team, we were so grounded. I think you can see it, and we were a clear win, and I knew it watching the others because they were really nervous, and Hayden and I just like wanted each other to do well, and we wanted Erin to do well, and she's beautiful, and she was so easy and such a good sport. We also were probably the most seasoned actors at that time on the show, so we both have had a lot of acting experience, and I think that helped a lot.
Well, speaking of your experience, you did briefly mention a little bit earlier about your time on Broadway. I mean, we hear a lot on the show. Elijah has experience in Hamilton, but you yourself have some experience. Do you want to tell our listeners what your resume is like?
So I was in the Book of Mormon on Broadway. I booked it when I was 24, and then I worked. I think the last show I did, I was 30. I'm pretty sure it gets a little melty in there the last couple of years. But yeah, so I booked I booked with the original cast. I wasn't an original cast member. I came in about a year later and worked with 90%, 95% of the original cast on Broadway. And then I went on tour and played Elder McKinley. And then I went back to Broadway to understudy Elder McKinley. So I went back and forth on the Broadway and national tour circuit of the show. So I had a lot of experience in terms of that show and just a lot of stage time. That was all I did in my 20s was that show. And so I put a lot of I was started as a swing. So a lot of just being thrown into something makes you ready for competition shows galore, because just being thrown in and just being all right, I got to figure it out and I'll make it work, and I'll be stressed, but I'll make it work. So I think Mormon was a big reason why I did such a good job in how quickly I could be thrown into something. And then, I didn't tell I didn't tell the boys, because I wanted Elijah, it's kind of that was his thing. And I was let him have his thing for a little bit. I'll pop in this.
You were going for that villain edit, weren't you?
I was trying so hard. I was biting my tongue, because you hear it and you're oh, but I want to tell everybody I was I'm gonna be patient. But Hamilton is a huge feat as well. We both were in really big shows and really cool. And I had my little things I wanted to do, and I'll hold on to my Broadway. I'm very proud of it. So I'll just we'll hold on to it for a little bit. I wanted the talent show. I had a really fun talent. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh well.
Oh yeah, that would have been amazing.
You mentioned the villain edit without naming any names. Were you or were you not surprised by who? We think they very clearly gave someone a villain edit in the first several episodes. Did that surprise you at all, watching the way it played out on screen?
I'm trying to find my Hallmark answer. I think he should lean into it, and I think we always need a villain. I think that's all press is good press, and if you're getting a villain edit, lean into it. That would be my advice to him. And if he were to ever come and ask me or if any of the boys came and asked me, how do I approach my edits or this or that? Because it's a reality TV show, you're going to get edited in ways you don't know. And that's just kind of going into it. I watch a lot of reality shows, and I don't think they've done, I think, yeah, sure. They have they villainized or made him? Sure. But lean into it. That would be what I would want to tell him. Or if he asks me how he would do it, I would lean into it, because the villain gets a lot of talk, people are talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
You hear it, and whether they like you or not, that doesn't matter. We always need a villain in every movie. There's got to be a villain. And if you can become that, there you go. Work that way. Work it. He's a sweetheart, though. He is the biggest sweetheart, the biggest heart. But sometimes you just portrayed, and I don't think Hallmark's doing it on purpose. It's just
it's villain light.
Yeah,
for
sure. You need every show needs a villain.
Of course, especially a reality show.
And I met these boys, and they're all so sweet. The first day I met them, we literally met in the house the first day, and I was like, oh my God, they're all so nice. How can I be I'll be the sassy little villain. Okay, hang on.
It's so funny that was your intention, having seen the show, because you just come off as just this good guy. You get the good guy edit.
It'll never work. I just want to be the bad boy at some point, and it never works.
Speaking of your persona on the show, one of the most touching moments of the very first episode is you come right out, you identify as a member of the LGBTQ community. You and Jonathan have this lovely moment that brought me to tears. How important was it for you to get that out in front early in the show?
Well, I didn't want to. I didn't want to be the second one to come out on camera. There's my villain side. I wanted to be the first one to be like, hey, this is what I am. I feel like my whole life, it's, as an actor, you get scared to let somebody know you're gay because your sex appeal might go down, or this might go down, or this might go down, or you might not get work because you're gay. And I've lived for 30 some years now, fearing that of like, I'm out to my friends. I'm not ashamed of who I am, but there's a sense of relief when I finally got to like come out in front of, on a camera, where like now you can Google me and there's no secret about it. Like, I don't have to be like, oh, like it's just who I am. And if I lose work because of it, that's just the choice I made. And it's scary. And I think that having somebody, like getting to tell somebody, the host also being an out gay guy who plays straight roles as well, telling him that felt safe. And it is emotional because it is scary. And then having a group of guys that you don't know, I don't know them that well, but it felt like a very supportive group, made me feel really good. And kind of made that little 5-year-old Daxton, who has always just want to be weird and goofy, to just like be okay with it. And it was really freeing. Like, that moment was probably one of the most freeing moments of my life. And I'll remember that forever. Truly.
That's lovely.
That's really lovely.
We're rooting for a second season of Finding Mr. Christmas. We think it's such an enjoyable show. And like Megan says, we both watch a lot of reality TV. And when somebody goes home early, like unexpectedly, you're always rooting that they'll get their redemption, that they'll get asked back for the next season. Is that something you would entertain if you were asked back for a second season?
100%, I'd entertain it. I entertain it that. I also entertain it like, give me my own reality series.
Yeah.
I'm like, give Hayden and I a reality series, the bromance of 2024. I really want to continue. I would do it in a heartbeat. Hallmark it's been really fun to be on it. I'm sure there has been no talk of a season 2. I don't know anything about a season 2. I'm always throwing ideas out there to Jonathan, anybody, just being like, because we become friends with all of these boys and like very close, which is really special. And yeah, I would love to be part of a Hallmark situation in 2025. I don't know what that will be. If that is season 2, I'll jump into it. If that comes in as a guest on season 2, I jump into it. But yeah, I'd compete again. But I think the boys will come a little bit more
what's awesome?
ready to go.
That's always my biggest criticism about a reality show that does well, because then the next season of contestants come in, they're like prepared. One wants to be the villain, one wants to be this, one wants to be that. So like the first season's always the best, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and they don't, because we had no clue. And I think, a first season, everybody's trying to, like, even the creators are trying to work out things that they're like, oh, it works. Oh, this works. Let's keep going. And I think that, a season 2 will be more interesting to watch as well, just because everyone will kind of know how to play the game. And I kind of came in watching a lot of reality shows, so I kind of knew how to play the game. And I really want to just try to get my bromance with Hayden moving and grooving.
The opportunity is there. It's absolutely there. Like, we've seen tons of like duos who meet each other on reality TV shows, like go off and do things together. So, I mean, bravo.
I just believe what I love about this show and what I love about these boys in general was the straight gay relationships the straight gay relationship I have right now, I think was really important. And I think showing that like straight men and gay men can be best friends, and it's not something that's weird or frowned upon, or people think this or that. And I felt really weird growing up. Like, not weird growing up. Sometimes you're like, I don't want them to think I'm hitting on them. Or if I am hitting on them, I want them to know it's just a joke. Like, so it's just, and the not feeling comfortable around 9 straight guys was really, really cool and made me feel even more confident in myself.
You've mentioned your bromance with fellow Finding Mr. Christmas star Hayden. I love knowing that, like, we saw you guys forming a friendship on screen, and I love knowing that it's genuine and it extends beyond the show. You two have started your own podcast, Blondies Out Loud, which has 2 episodes out as of the recording of this episode. I was listening to episode 2 this morning walking the dog, and y'all are a good time. That podcast is high energy. It's fun to see you guys play off of each other. I laughed out loud and you teased Hayden about his blue contact lenses.
What?
Yeah. No, we're still trying to find a voice in it, and we're having fun. And I think what I just talked about, the bromance, is really cool, and we just want to continue to show that, because in the show, that relationship is real. The edits were kind of short, but I wish they could have showed more of us, of that friendship. But, there's 9 other guys, but it's real. It's really kind of cool how I'm in a text thread with all of them. It's called The Bros. So there's probably 10 text messages already today. Like, it is nonstop, and everyone texts. It's on silent, but I love them all.
That's so fun. That's so amazing.
I read Let's Go about 10 times a day.
That's so funny, because I recently said in a recap episode, it might have been episode 3 after you were gone, I was like, the number of times the word bro is said in this episode, I was like, it needs to be a drinking game. It's out of control.
I could probably count over 1,000 today.
We said they need, like, you're too young for this, but like a pop-up style video, like bro count over the episode on Hallmark Plus.
They truly do. No. They truly need a bro count. That verbiage, I guess Hayden and I laugh about it because he says, in the gay community will be like, girl, come on, girl. Like, it's like so funny. And I was like, Hayden's like, I've said girl more than I've ever said in my life to people. And I'm like, bro, and let's go to everybody in my life. It's just like, what did we do to each other?
I'm like, that is amazing. That is so fun. You guys should do a YouTube channel. Like, you guys should be making videos of do you guys live together? Like, do you?
Hayden and I?
Yeah.
No, we don't live together. He lives in LA. So our podcast is on YouTube as well. So that's just how
nice. Okay, good.
We're learning a lot. It is as you guys know, podcasting is like not hard, but it's way more difficult than it seems. Like, it seems so simple and easy, but there's a lot that goes into it, and we're having fun doing it, and we like showing our friendship, and we're not here to. We don't talk about the show on it. We want to talk about our friendship and just something fun and stupid and silly, because we both are fun, silly blondies that met on a fun reality show. So,
well, you both are so likable too, and that's what the draw is. That's what's going to draw an audience, is that you guys are so likable, and they want to like know more about you guys and your friendship, and like, all the stuff that you guys are into. So like, that's so fun. I'm so happy for you.
We kind of needed something special when we met on set. Like, there was days where, like, I think there was like one morning I was like, we should find new friends. Truly, I think that's one of our funniest jokes. Like, I was like, we should probably find new friends because they're going to get tired of this story about it.
Oh my gosh. No, I would have. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine if you stayed and then like, you guys had this friendship and what if it came down to the final 2 where both of you, like, that would have been a bonkers of a season.
I think we were, I don't know if they might have gone in and edit, but before I left, it didn't probably really matter. But I think we were like, I think there's times where we were like, let's be the final 2. Let's be like, I was playing reality. I was playing reality show.
Absolutely.
These straight boys had they had no chance with me. No chance. I knew things ahead of time before, like, just because I've watched reality shows, they didn't tell me anything. I just was like, we all laugh about it being like, Dax was like 9 steps ahead of all of us. I was like, yeah, like
You're out here playing chess.
I knew the assignment. I was like,
Yes.
why are you all trying to make your Christmas gifts pretty? Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Smart.
Do you have a favorite reality show that you love that like inspired you?
I was getting a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race with Finding Mr. Christmas with like this mini challenge and name challenge. So I kind of was like, somebody likes, but RuPaul's Drag Race I love. I think it's great. I think it represents a community that didn't have a lot of light on it for a long, long, long time, and it's so fun and really opens the world to a whole new genre of types of people, and they're really just human beings like the rest. Like we're all human beings, but like they're just this like group of LGBTQ plus people that also celebrate life and have fun, and it's all about joy and being silly and creative. So I love that show. And then I've fallen in love with Traitors. Get me on the Traitors. That's where I want to be the villain.
Yes.
Have you applied?
I'm trying.
You would be
Traitors,
amazing.
find me. I want to be a villain.
You would be
I'd
amazing.
be such a good villain on there because people trust, like they trust me, but we all know I said it here first. I can't be that mean. I couldn't ever be that mean. I just want a little villainy.
You would be amazing on that show.
Love Traitors. Yeah.
So you've got the podcast. I know you have big dreams for next year. Is there something that's coming up next that you can tell us about?
I will be doing Jersey Boys again in Phoenix for like 3.5 months this winter. So I'm just kind of sitting around chilling until that show. I did Jersey Boys right before we did press. So I went from Finding Mr. Christmas to eye injury to 2 big surgeries for my summer, and then went into Jersey Boys and into press. And then they announced the show, so I've been kind of busy doing stuff for the show.
Well, and when you're in a show, I mean, there's no downtime. I mean, it's 8 shows a week, and you're just living that show life full time.
Yeah, and not to be like dramatic or anything, but I hadn't done theater in 5 years. I'm really focusing on developing projects and being in projects, especially for camera. And this audition came around when I was in my first recovery for Bob Gaudio, which was an Italian. And I was like, I've turned down Jersey Boys like 9 times. And I was like, you know what? I have nothing to do. I'm in Kansas for like 2 weeks. So with my mom, and I'm like, I'm just going to put it on tape, get a call back. I'm like, I'm just like going to whatever. And then I book it and booked the show the day that I went in for my second surgery. So I think the show is just a gift to give me something to look forward to for the next recovery, because it's a long recovery. The recovery's not cute. You can't see. You have to keep your head down. You can't exercise. It was just so. I think Jersey Boys saved me in terms of like my morale and trying to in getting back on theater, my first love, and it was a really hard role. So it kind of took a very involved role. I wouldn't say it was like difficult, but with a lot of lines and a lot of dialogue, and so it took my mind off of like this annoying stuff that I was going through. And then and then I did press, and here I am just waiting to have another surgery and do Bob Gaudio again. So I've already done it once. I'm ready to tackle it again, I guess, unless a movie comes my way in the next 2 months, but we'll see.
Yeah, we're crossing our fingers for that. Well, we have loved talking to you. Tell our listeners where they can find you. Keep up.
You can find me on Instagram, Dax Bloomquist, at Dax Bloomquist, or TikTok at Dax Bloomquist. That's my 2 biggest things I'm on, and that's about it.
And is your plan currently to drop the podcast weekly? Do you think you'll continue while you're doing Jersey Boys?
Yeah, this is so fun. We're using Riverside. We were trying to figure out. We have a really cool space we're recording in. I have friends that have cool spaces to let us record, and while I'm away, we'll record on Riverside. So this is really cool. This was a cool learning experience for me. I'm gonna like call Hayden right after me, like, oh my God, it was so easy. Um, but yeah, so we're gonna plan on a weekly. We told ourselves, let's do 8 weeks. Let's see how we feel after 8 weeks, and if we want to keep going, if we get people that really like it, if we're still having fun. The goal is to have fun. Like, I think after dealing with this really crazy eye situation, my life perspective is enjoy it. It can go like that so quick, and I had I had no clue that this was going to happen, and so I'm dealing with medical bills that that I'm trying to cover, and I'm dealing with all this, and I'd rather just enjoy my life. So I'm like, this is fun for us, and coming on podcasts is fun. Talking in general is fun. So I'm just trying to focus on having fun, and hopefully the rest of the universe will lead me into what I'm supposed to be doing, and trying to keep smiling and keep a good perspective on everything, because you don't know. We don't know how long we got, so
That's right.
might as well make it good.
Well,
Yeah.
I do think that's a common thread in what you're doing here, the idea of joy, the persona you shared on Finding Mr. Christmas. Your podcast is really joy-filled. Talking to you has been a blast. So we wish nothing but the best for you. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to the listeners for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark, a Bramble Jam podcast. If you love this podcast, friends, we love your 5-star ratings and reviews. You can leave them in the podcast app you're currently listening to. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye. All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.
I won't let my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis symptoms define me.
Emerge as you. In 2 clinical studies, Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, provided 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks in 7 out of 10 adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. In a study, nearly 7 out of 10 patients with 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks were still clearer at 5 years. At 1 year and thereafter, patients and healthcare providers knew that Tremfya was being used. This may have increased results. Results may vary.
Serious allergic reactions may occur. Tremfya may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms of infection, including fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough. Tell your doctor if you had a vaccine or plan to.
Emerge as you. Learn more about Tremfya, including important safety information at tremfya.com or call 1-877-578-3527. See our ad in Food and Wine magazine. For patients prescribed Tremfya, cost support may be available.
If your day sounds like
we need the report ASAP,
you deserve Modelo. If you've persevered through
2 more reps, 2 more.
You deserve this ice-cold reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
I won't let my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis symptoms define me.
Emerge as you. In 2 clinical studies, Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, provided 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks in 7 out of 10 adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. In a study, nearly 7 out of 10 patients with 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks were still clearer at 5 years. At 1 year and thereafter, patients and healthcare providers knew that Tremfya was being used. This may have increased results. Results may vary.
Serious allergic reactions may occur. Tremfya may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms of infection, including fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough. Tell your doctor if you had a vaccine or plan to.
Emerge as you. Learn more about Tremfya, including important safety information at tremfya.com or call 1-877-578-3527. See our ad in Food and Wine magazine. For patients prescribed Tremfya, cost support may be available.
After the end of a good fight, you deserve an ice-cold reward. Modelo, you put in the hours, the energy, the tough labor, because you know the bigger the fight, the better the reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
I won't let my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis symptoms define me.
Emerge as you. In 2 clinical studies, Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, provided 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks in 7 out of 10 adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. In a study, nearly 7 out of 10 patients with 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks were still clear at 5 years. At 1 year and thereafter, patients and healthcare providers knew that Tremfya was being used. This may have increased results. Results may vary.
Serious allergic reactions may occur. Tremfya may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms of infection, including fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough. Tell your doctor if you had a vaccine or plan to.
Emerge as you. Learn more about Tremfya, including important safety information at tremfya.com or call 1-877-578-3527. See our ad in Food and Wine magazine. For patients prescribed Tremfya, cost support may be available.
After the end of a good fight, you deserve an ice-cold reward. Modelo, you put in the hours, the energy, the tough labor, because you know the bigger the fight, the better the reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
I won't let my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis symptoms define me.
Emerge as you. In 2 clinical studies, Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, provided 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks in 7 out of 10 adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. In a study, nearly 7 out of 10 patients with 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks were still clear at 5 years. At 1 year and thereafter, patients and healthcare providers knew that Tremfya was being used. This may have increased results. Results may vary.
Serious allergic reactions may occur. Tremfya may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms of infection, including fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough. Tell your doctor if you had a vaccine or plan to.
Emerge as you. Learn more about Tremfya, including important safety information at tremfya.com or call 1-877-578-3527. See our ad in Food and Wine magazine. For patients prescribed Tremfya, cost support may be available.
If your day sounds like
we need the report ASAP,
you deserve Modelo. If you've persevered through
2 more reps, 2 more,
you deserve this ice-cold reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
I won't let my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis symptoms define me.
Emerge as you. In 2 clinical studies, Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, provided 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks in 7 out of 10 adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. In a study, nearly 7 out of 10 patients with 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks were still clear at 5 years. At 1 year and thereafter, patients and healthcare providers knew that Tremfya was being used. This may have increased results. Results may vary.
Serious allergic reactions may occur. Tremfya may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms of infection, including fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough. Tell your doctor if you had a vaccine or plan to.
Emerge as you. Learn more about Tremfya, including important safety information at tremfya.com or call 1-877-578-3527. See our ad in Food and Wine magazine. For patients prescribed Tremfya, cost support may be available.